Stigma and discrimination remains a major challenge for those who are trying to solve the negative impacts of the disease. Desiree Edgell is an executive director of Artists in Direct Support, an NGO that uses the performing arts to work on the reduction of stigma and discrimination.
That is our biggest problem, stigma and discrimination. A study was done recently where the results said that there is no discrimination, but there is stigma. As long as there is stigma, there will be discrimination. So I'm not fooled by that. But what came out of the study also was that most of the stigma faced by persons living with HIV, they face it when they go to the health services. And I think that's primarily because we have a fast turnover of people in our health services. Well, you know, we don't pay a lot of good money, so if people get good opportunities, they leave. So you train them and they leave. And there's still that fear attached to HIV. People still think, especially in the health services, if I get spilled by someone else's blood, then I could become infected. So there is still that fear where the health services, people working in the health services are concerned. So it's easy for them to stigmatize against persons living with HIV and AIDS.
But as Edgell admits, living with HIV is not quite easy. She says sometimes people with the disease have problems seeking help from their own families.
The problem in the home stems because people wait until they get AIDS, then to let their family know that they're positive. That is the biggest issue. So if suddenly someone gets ill and you see all these things appearing on their skin and they start vomiting and diarrhea, of course you'll get fearful without even knowing they're HIV positive. Don't worry, no sickness in here, I ain't looking after no sick. We got enough economic problems. That's where they're going to go. But if someone who's HIV positive tells their family members before they get AIDS, when they're looking just like them, and then they help them through the process to prepare them for that time when they have AIDS, then it's going to be a different kind of treatment in the home. You can't just throw things on people and expect them to embrace you. It's sickness, and people are always fearful, especially if you're not inclined to be a nurse or a doctor. You don't want to take care of anyone or clean any sores. But if you know beforehand, and I think that is where people who are HIV positive need to go, to the place where you can have confidence in your family so much that you can say to them, I just found out I was HIV positive. I didn't go looking for it, because if I had known, I would not have put myself at risk. And I want to ask you if you're going to be there for me.
Artists in Direct Support is also involved in HIV/AIDS prevention campaigns and education programs.
We are working with in-school youth, out-of-school youth, men who have sex with men, commercial sex workers, and workplaces. Men who have sex with men already face stigma because of their lifestyle. So you can understand the kind of stigma they will face when they are MSM and plus HIV positive. So we're doing community outreach with them, going out into their community. We have trained MSMs as peer educators to go into the community to help their peers deal with stigma and discrimination. But we're now at a place where we're trying to get them to deal with their own self-discrimination, because among them there is discrimination. When who, the cross-dressers, you know, they have different categories, and who don't want to be with who, and who lawless, and who more intelligent. And we got to deal with that first. If you can't deal with your own self-stigma, then you're not going to be able to help anyone to deal with the stigma they're facing out there. So we do that. With the commercial sex workers, the same thing. We're working with commercial sex workers because our men are going with those women. And if we get those women to be safe, then our men will be safe. In the workplaces, there is still that thing where people are being sent home because they're positive.
On December 1, International World AIDS Day, Artists in Direct Support hosts its annual Flame and the Ribbon Show, a theatrical production aimed at reducing stigma and discrimination.
When we started to do the Flame and the Ribbon, this was because we wanted to give hope to persons living with HIV, to their families. The flame is the lighting of a candle. A candle light gives hope. So before the show, because it's really a production, a theatrical production, including dance, drama, singing, but before that we would have this big candle lighting ceremony in front of the cultural center, where we would have people come and light a candle for someone they know living with HIV. Have people themselves who are living with HIV light a candle, so that there's still hope, all is not lost. And then after that, we would take them into the cultural center and do the show. We would use the theme for the World AIDS campaign each year to create that production. First it used to be a variety, but since the death of Andres O'Brien, God rest his soul, who used to do the writing, and I started writing, I started doing full-length plays, where you deal with an issue in its entirety. That way you get people to really look at things and take time.
Good morning, girls, and how is everyone today?
It's good department you work in, accounts now? Oh yes. You hear about the new staff who we getting that got AIDS? Right now we plan how we can deal with she.
I'm new here. This is my first day. I was directed to this department.
The production scripts, according to Edgel, are usually based on real-life stories.
So I do a lot of counseling myself. I do counseling for children who are going wayward with their parents. I do counseling for marriage couples. I do counseling for persons who realize they're HIV positive, or their husband brought it home or their wife brought it home. So I do a lot of that. So a lot of what I write comes from my experience through counseling. I try to relive, because real situations come over. It's easier to write than for you to make a story up. My first play I wrote was my own story. My husband lives in Norfolk, Virginia, and I went up there and found the evidence of him being unfaithful to me. And I sat there and I said, here am I in Guyana, telling people to be careful, to not have sex with someone that you're not sure that they're being faithful to you, or you're not sure they're not HIV positive. And then I leave Guyana and I go up to the States and go and have unprotected sex with a husband who I don't know what's happening all through the year. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. And I came home right away and I took my HIV test, because I said I could have gone there and picked up HIV. What was I going to say to those people who I'm here telling to be so careful, and I can't myself be careful? So that first year I wrote my story. It was a kind of a healing. I was writing the story, my husband was typing it, we were fighting through it, but I wrote it and then I put the HIV element into it. What could have happened as a result of. And so that was my first play. And after that, it was easy.
My boyfriend, who claims to love me so much, suddenly get false and start questioning me about being positive.
I'm so sorry, Dawn. This is all because of me.
And after 20 years, Edgel remains as passionate as ever about her work with artisan direct support.
I didn't want to do it. And then when I started doing it, my friend got ill.
You guys would have been out of this
And
friendship a long
I had
time
promised my friend, because he was very upfront in saying that I'm HIV positive, and if you want to be my friend, then be my friend. But if you don't want, then I prefer you go and not be a hypocrite. And at that time, he was very straightforward. There was no way you could have said, I'm not going to be your friend. And so I made a promise that I was going to be there until the end, and I was.
Des re-emphasized, with proper care and treatment, people living with HIV can live long, healthy, and prosperous lives.
The color of his skin is different from mine. Texture of his hair is different from mine. We can't change that, it doesn't matter. He's my brother, oh Jah. The color of her skin is different from yours. Texture of her hair is different from yours. We can't change that, it doesn't matter. She's our sister, oh yeah. Yo, it's your boy Mystic, you know. And telling you that do not discriminate, you know. Do not discriminate people that living with HIV, you know. You got to show them love, treat them right, you know, because it can happen to any one of us. So share more love out there, spread more love. And to the youths, be very careful. You know, the world out there is big and you can be easily led astray. So be careful, think twice, think wise in whatever you're about to do. Yeah.